On today's video, I'd like to share some thoughts that I've had. The video is just gonna be me on my regular day from the morning to the end of the day. In the morning, I was working out. Normally, whenever I work out, I listen to the podcast. I can't just work out. And also, interesting podcasts keep me distracted enough sometimes to get me going on working out. On that particular day, whenever I had this thought, I was listening to On Your Future podcast by Dean Graziosi and How I Built This podcast by Guy Raz. How I Built This podcast, the guest was Scott Morris, who founded the company Fresh Pet. They're the company who started selling the fresh pet food in the United States back in 2006. And he was talking about his triumphs, success, but mainly failures and struggles. There were many struggles for him to start the Fresh Pet. First, whenever he thought about it and starting it, no one believed in him. Many experts in the industry were saying that is just a dumb idea. No one wanted to buy his product. And since his product was a fresh pet food, there was a refrigeration issue. A lot of the stores did not want to take in his product because refrigerating fresh food takes refrigerator space, electricity, more room, more logistics issue, right? And he was running out of money constantly because it's a manufacturing company. It's not like a software company that you build a product and everybody can just use it or share it. You gotta actually make something, right? So he was talking about all his struggle. And then the next podcast that I listened to, On Your Future podcast, Jesse Itzler was the guest on the show. Dean and Jesse, they were talking. Jesse was like, yeah, some salesmen, some of them are like, oh, I can't sell this product because of the price, because of the features it has, because of the shipment timing. My customer wants this and that. But Jesse was like, hey, that's totally normal. Your job is to sell to them. And customer's job is, of course, to resist and try to get the leverage and maybe to buy or maybe not to buy. That's their job. That's their job to reject you. It should be your expectation that they're going to do that. Dean was adding that, yeah, if you don't want to constantly go through problems after problem, trouble after trouble, challenges after challenge, don't start a business. Some people think starting a business is going to be like time freedom, financial freedom, and just all these fancy things. But the reality is, it's just trouble after trouble, stress after stress, maybe stress after stress, if you think it that way. But you gotta have that expectation that that's gonna be normal. Whenever I think about that, I go around tell people all the time that I'm gonna start a business one day. I'm gonna own my own business and it's gonna be successful. And it made me question, is starting a business that trouble after trouble, challenges after challenge, is that what I want, Because whenever I think of the time that I had that trouble after trouble, challenges after challenges, was back in college. At that time of my life, I was always very alert, very tense, thinking, what's going to be my next problem? But honestly, I hated it. I didn't want to deal with problems. I had so many problems. The life was simple, but in my small world, I had so many problems. What's gonna break in my crappy car? What's the next thing that's gonna break? It broke down every 3 months, and it always had troubles. It would stop in the middle of the road so many times. One time, my buddy with the big truck pulled me to the car repair shop because I didn't want to pay or didn't have money to tow it all the way to the car shop. Another thing was, how will I get through this project? How will I find time to study for the exam or quizzes? I always felt out of place. I felt like I just did not fit in. I didn't understand anything. All I could do was just keep my head down and just take one day at a time. And other things like, am I gonna get any sleep? I was getting 4 or 5 hours of sleep every night. Am I gonna, have any friends to go hang out? Didn't have time for that. And then I was very uncertain about my future. Will I even be able to get a job in the future? With me being a foreigner in the United States, it was very difficult during my job search process back in college. So with all those, I wanted to run away. I didn't want to deal with any of the problems. I wanted my dad to show up and fix the car for me. I wanted someone rich to show up and pay all my bills. I wanted someone smart to show me all the answers on the quizzes, tests, and assignments. I just wanted to drop everything. Thankfully, there was no one. No one that came to save me. I either had to face it and solve the problem myself, or crumble and go back to Korea. Since giving up and going back to Korea wasn't an option due to my pride and expectation, I had to find a way to live each day. I pretty much lived one day at a time because thinking of the near future would just make me more scared. So I say I want to run a successful business all the time. I should know that it is wishing to go back to my college days, yet with a little more complexities and possible problems. Because my life has evolved more. I have more to lose. Is that what I really wish for? The struggle, the loneliness, the worries? Or could it be different this time? Have I readied myself enough? Actually, I ran a small business of selling things on Amazon. That I had to fall because of the problems after problems. Chinese manufacturers, COVID, and the shipping issues due to COVID. But here's what Grant Cardone says. So he was trying to land himself a TV show to advertise himself. So he called a bunch of TV executives. One of them answered, and he was in New York. And Grant Cardone was like, hey, that's a coincidence because I'm going to New York next Thursday. Of course, Grant Cardone did not have a plan to go to New York. He was like, oh, we can meet up. It's such a coincidence. And he hangs up, sets up a meeting on Thursday at 1 o'clock, let's say, and calls his assistants. Hey, I got a flight to New York. What's my schedule like on Thursday? And the assistant's like, you can't go to New York. You're fully booked on Thursday. Grant Cardone's like, that's a big problem. And I love it. You know, he goes around, creates problem because a big problem, yeah, I welcome it because that's growth, that's progress. I don't know if I'm really ready for it yet. Sometimes I don't know if I really want it. But thinking about it, if I don't do it, working for someone, acting busy, not having the full control, I don't think I can do that. Maybe 10, 20 years later, knowing that I could have done it and looking back, oh, I should have. Or not knowing the full potential that I could have been, I think that's more miserable. So, I'll start a business, a successful one at that. And I'll handle it very well this time.